Yo, what is up? A quick video for you guys today. A lot of people have been asking about tank recommendations for the frontline mode, so I've compiled a list of the 10 best tanks that you can bring into frontlines and have the best chance for success in making a general. Now actually it's not 10 tanks, it's only 5 tanks, because I'm making 5 recommendations from the tech tree, non-premium tanks, and another 5 tanks from the premium tank lines. Now the reason why I do that is because in all reality, when you're playing frontlines, you're just going to end up playing about 3 tanks or maximum maybe 4. I personally have about 9 or 10 tanks lined up in my frontline mode, and one of them is this Emil 1951, which I use as a secondary tank or a reserve tank because I want to take it to some kind of special position, like the Foxtrot position on the hill, defending Foxtrot on the Overlord map, looking down and trying to reset the cap. This is the tank I might use, but I've not used it yet in this episode of Frontlines. The other tank is probably the Scorpion. It has limited mobility. The speed is not bad, but it doesn't turn very well. So I take it to very specific locations if I need to defend, let's say, the objective 1 or turret number 1. If I'm defending that, sometimes I might whip out the Scorpion G. It might work very well for that occasion. But let me go ahead and tell you how I came up with this list of 10 tanks. I've been playing this game mode since 2018. And I've been watching a lot of the best streamers play this game mode, and most of these streamers are from the RU region, and most of the time they are averaging general of the army almost 100% of the time. That means these players that I'm watching and gathering all this information from, they are extremely good players, and they get the General of the Army badge nearly 100% of the time. And the common denominator that they all share is the same one that I will use with you: stealth, vision, and mobility. All of these tanks have a combination, or have a few parts of stealth, have a few parts of vision and mobility as their traits. Now obviously the heavy tanks don't have that, so let's just jump straight into my first recommendation. I'm going to do the first 5 tanks from the tech tree, so that it's easier for the free-to-play guys who just want to rank up general and finish this grind. The first tank that I would recommend is the Caernarvon. This is the tier 8 British heavy tank, of course. Why do I pick this tank instead of let's say the IS-3 or a T-32 or a VKP, all those kind of heavy tanks? There's so many heavy tanks. Why am I picking the Caernarvon tier 8 British heavy tank? Well, because of its reload time. This thing has amazing reload time, 6.23 seconds, and with the kind of crews that I have, I'm reloading every 5.14 seconds. If you look over here, 5.14 seconds, I can do 280 damage, and it has 220 penetration. Why I don't use IS-3s to cap? Well, I use this because this thing has a little bit of armor and it has very quick reload. IS-3s, defenders, T-32s, they have very slow reloads, and ever since the introduction of the wheeled tanks, the Lynx, the EBR-75s, when they come into the capture circle to deny you from capping, it's very difficult for you to fight against them if you're reloading every 10 seconds, 11, 12 seconds. With a Caernarvon action or Caernarvon tier 8 heavy tank, you can reload every 5 seconds, you can defend yourself, you can fight back, and I use this tank a lot. In fact, I only use this tank for this game mode. I don't even play it in the random battles. Now the second tank that I would recommend for free-to-play players is the Pantera P44. This is a Tech Tree version. I have crew for it, it's not this one, but Pantera is exactly like a Progetto 46. It is absolutely amazing for playing in front lines, even in random battles or front lines. This tank is absolutely amazing. If you do not have a Progetto 46, this is the next best thing. 212 penetration, 240 damage. Of course, you have the auto reloading gun. This has stealth, vision and mobility written all over it. Of course, I'm going to run vertical stabilizers and optics to maximize my vision, as well as it's a good mobility. It has a bit of speed going forward, 60 kilometers an hour, so you've got mobility there. It's really great for this game mode. The next tank, the third tank on the tech tree that I would recommend is the French tank, and it's going to be the Lynx 6x6. Now this tank is absolutely amazing. A lot of times you're going to use it with the HE shells. I carry a healthy amount here, 12 HE shells. You use this to wreak havoc on the map. I don't need to tell you about it. If you play this game mode, you see a lot of these guys running around. They are absolutely annoying. It's very hard to hit them. They can circle you and kill you very easily, which is why I don't play the Defender anymore. I don't play IS-3s anymore. I play the Kainavon or the Kainavon Action X because of the quick reload and the ability for those heavy tanks to defend itself against tanks like the Lynx 6x6. Now the next tech tree tank that I would recommend in the tech tree, the fourth one, is the T44. This tank is absolutely amazing. If you don't have the premium T44 100, this is the next best thing. If you do not have this T44, you can actually rent a T44 with credits and gold, if I'm not mistaken, from the rental thing. If you're a new player and you don't have this tank, you can rent this out, and this is an absolutely amazing tank to be using in this game mode because, again, it's got a little bit of stealth, a little bit of vision, a little bit of mobility. When I'm talking about mobility, I'm talking about 51 kilometers an hour forward speeds. It does some damage, 250 average damage. It's very useful for this game mode. And the last tank on the tech tree that I would recommend is this one, the LTTB. LTTB is a light tank. Once again, you notice that a lot of my lineups, it's basically 2 medium tanks, 2 light tanks, and 1 heavy tank. And you're probably only going to play 3 of these tanks, and it's probably the 3 tanks that you're probably going to play a lot of is going to be the Pantera, the T44, and the Lynx 6x6. And if one of them dies and you need another light tank, the LTTB would be your spare or your spare reserve tank to play to attack. And the Kainavon, of course, if you want to capture or you want to hold a position, is a great heavy tank. So those are my 5 tech tree tanks that I would recommend for you in this game mode. You're probably just going to play 3 or maybe 4 max. The other notable tank that you could possibly use is the WZ-132. It was a formidable light tank before the light tank apocalypse. I don't know exactly if it's still as good as it was before, but I assume that the WZ-132 is still not a bad tank because it has quite a good alpha gun, I guess. Alright, let's move on to premium tanks. Now the first premium tank that I would recommend, obviously you're not going to play a lot of heavy tanks in this game mode. Like I said, stealth, vision and mobility is going to be the key, but if you need a heavy tank, this is going to be your first choice. I have a Defender. I do not use a Defender anymore, and the same reason as I prefer to use the Kainavon the tier 8 from the tech tree. I got this tank on the first black market for 9 million credits. Now before I got the Kainavon Action X, I was playing the Defender, but I realized that after the introduction of the wheeled tanks, those defenders are not very effective anymore. Even though it has fantastic armor, but it cannot turn the turret fast enough to follow those fast wheel tanks. So I switched to the Tech Tree kind of one. I used this for the longest time before the black market kind of one Action X was on sale. When it was on sale, I bought this tank and I've been using it ever since. So this is my first tank that I recommend on the premium store. And the next premium tank is my all-time favorite. I always spawn with this tank as my first tank in Frontlines because this is an all-rounder tank. This tank can do everything. It can do attacking, it can do defending. It has a bit of trollish armor. It has 250 damage. I even put purple equipment on it because I use it so much. It is an absolute beast for credit grinding. So this is what I recommend as my primary tank. In fact, this is my first tank that I spawn in, and I use this tank. The second tank that I recommend is the Progetto 46. This is of course a premium Italian tank. Like I said, one of the best tanks in this game as well. A lot of people will take this tank before they even pick the T44-100. When they first spawn in to Frontlines, a lot of people go with the Progetto 46. Also, same reasons as the T44-100. It is an all-rounder tank. It can do a lot of things, but the armor profile of course is slightly weaker than the T44-100. But in terms of combat capabilities, the Progetto 46 is up there among the best of them, if not the best. The best combat tanks are always going to be the Progetto 46 and the T44-100. The fourth tank in the premium line I would recommend is the EBR 75 again, the Mosquito, the annoying tank. You are just going to completely dominate. You're going to circle around people, completely destroy them. You can fight other light tanks or the Burrasque with HE shells. You can't attack LT-432s with HE shells, though you need to use the APCR shells for LT-432s because you will bounce LT-432s a lot in this tank. Alright, this is my fourth pick for premium tanks, and my last pick for premium tanks is my LT-432. This is an amazing combat capable tank. It's supposed to be a light tank. It has great vision, it has great stealth, it has great mobility. It has also crazy trollish armor that you can use when you know, in some occasions it just bails you out from a lot of trouble because of its armor profile. It is very flat pancake tank. It can bounce a lot of funky stuff. That's how the armor saves you. It doesn't really have any armor at all, but you're expecting it to bounce a couple of lucky shots that helps you survive for just a bit longer on the map. Now, the next thing I want to talk to you about before this before this video is ended, let's talk about one more tank that I do not have, but who is really useful. Now, it would be a toss-up between this tank and the other tank that I'm talking about. Where is it? I need to first find it. Here it is. I'm talking about the Burrasque. Now, I had the rental tank, but it's no longer with me. I probably get it back soon if I can get it. But if I had the Burrasque, this is probably my go-to tank instead of the LT-432, or maybe I will just carry 6 tanks, including the Burrasque, because this Burrasque is absolutely dominating the frontline game mode right now. It is a really good tank. Forget what you hear about some people that say this tank is not suitable for frontlines. This is an absolute amazing tank for frontlines. It has the camouflage values here, if you look here, 40% is camouflage values of a light tank. Of course, that is stationary, so fire when you're stationary and then run away to reload and then come back, fire again and then come back and fire again, rinse and repeat. This tank is not really, you don't really want to engage too close. You want to be engaging somewhere in the mid to long distances if you can. The gun is not so accurate at all the time, but if you have a capable 5 skill crew, a lot of people are doing really well with this tank. I even saw a game when a guy did 20,000+ in this tank alone. So that's what I have to say about the Burrasque. Now, the next thing that I wanted to talk about is equipment. So let's go ahead and talk about it. When you are equipping a tank, there's only 2 equipment you need to go for, and the first one is engineering. All your tanks should carry this as your first, the most important thing. Why? Because it's going to provide a bonus to your capture and resupply speed. What does that mean? When you're capping the cap circle, it's going to count down a little bit quicker, or you're going to earn those capture points even faster. It speeds up your capturing. And also when your repair station, the cooldown for your repair station is going to be shorter when you have engineering. Also, when your enemy is capping and you get into the cap circle to block your enemy from completing the cap, you're going to earn those cap points from your enemy a lot quicker. Engineering is the most important skill. All the top players will pick this skill as your first your first skill. The second thing that you need to put, which is the second most important thing, is Inspire. Why? With Inspire, when you turn it on, you're gonna have like a circle around you. You're gonna inspire yourself and those people around you. When you're in a brawl, you're going to inspire your teammates as well. What does that do for you? Well, basically it is residual damage. It is assisted damage. Whatever your teammates damage, whatever they are doing, if they are doing damage, you are earning XP from that damage as well. So it also helps you, it also speeds up your reload, it speeds up your teammates' reload. Anyone that's inspired within your circle, they are going to be inspired. They will benefit from a faster reload. You will benefit from earning all that assisted damage that they do. So these are the 2 things that will propel you to general really quickly if you know how to use them. The third skill is only available on heavy tanks. So if you're playing heavy tanks, you're gonna have a 3rd slot, and the third slot is going to be artillery strike or air strikes or smoke screen. That's up to you in your heavy tanks. But basically in your medium tanks you get 2 slots, so you get engineering and inspire. In your light tanks you only get 1 slot, so it's just going to be engineering. Okay, I hope this video wasn't too long. I hope you learned something from it and benefit something from it. Remember to give this video a like if you enjoyed it and benefit from it. I will see you on the next one. Bye bye.